Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Silent Swordsman Phantom Knight deck profile. And this one actually is for Txne. He actually is a Patreon member that wanted this deck profile done as his monthly Patreon deck profile request. And so I wanted to do this one just for him, and it's a really cool deck that I've actually been thinking about building for a long time, but he was like, hey, build Silent Swordsman, and I was like, haha, bet. Let's do it. So I built a Silent Swordsman deck for you guys and for Txne, so definitely give Txne some love down in the comments down below for this awesome deck profile that is brought to you by him. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below because you can have some awesome rewards for you guys, like getting your name description for every single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile just like this one, and getting test hands along with it, which you guys should be on the lookout for the test hands of this deck as well. So, without further ado, guys, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Silent Swordsman. So you got to play 3 copies of Silent Swordsman if it's going to be a Silent Swordsman deck. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by attributing a warrior monster and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn during your standby phase, this card gains 500, or during the standby phase, it gains 500 attack. And then once per turn, during either player's turn, when a spell effect is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by a card effect, then you can special summon a Silent Swordsman monster from your hand or deck. So it works a lot like Silent Magician, which I play in my Spellbook deck, if you guys haven't seen that, where you can play Silent Swordsman in this particular deck, along with Silent Swordsman level 7, which is an insanely good card in this deck, because this deck mainly works around with traps, as Silent Swordsman negates all spells. So it negates every single spell on the field, which is really good, actually, in this deck, because you play stuff like Fogblade, and you play stuff like Shade Brigandine, and the Phantom Knight's Sword, Mistclaws, all those traps, they still work, where this card kind of just shuts that down. And I actually have a really cool tech to get this card to your hand first turn every single game, so keep that in mind. And it's not Zold. So we're going to be playing then 3 copies of the Phantom Knight of Ancient Cloak. Ancient Cloak's really cool because if this card is in attack position, you can target a dark monster on the field, change that monster to defense position. If you do, that monster gains 800 attack and defense. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard to add 1 The Phantom Knight's card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of itself, which is still pretty good to be able to add just about any Phantom Knight card that you want, but it has to be The Phantom Knight. It can't be Phantom Knight. So, then we play 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots, which can special summon itself once per turn to your side of the field if you control a Phantom Knight monster, which is pretty cool, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to add 1 Phantom Knight spell or trap from your deck to your hand once per turn. We then play 2 copies of Phantom Knights of Ragged Gloves. Ragged Gloves is if this card is used to XYZ summon a monster that is dark, you can increase that monster's attack by 1,000, which is, again, pretty good. And you can manage this card from your graveyard to send a Phantom Knight from your deck to the graveyard as well, which is, again, pretty good to be able to Foolish Burial them because all of them use their effects when they're in the graveyard. Something I will point out is what I usually like to do is if I open up Boots and Cloak, I can normal summon these 2 out, or normal summon out the copy of Boots, or normal summon the copy of Cloak, special summon Boots, tribute the Cloak, special summon Phantom or Silent Swordsman. I almost said Phantom Silent Swordsman, but hey, whatever. He's pretty much just Phantom Knight. Special summon out him, be able to negate a spell, and then search a copy of Fogblade to negate a monster effect, and then I can use the Boots and another monster on my side of the field if I can get out a third, like a copy of Junk Ford, which we play 3 copies of, to be able to overlay into another monster, which is pretty good as well. So the copy of the Junk Ford, it has the ability that if you control no monsters, that you can special summon this card from your hand. It's essentially a Warrior Cyber Dragon monster that I use for level 3 plays, which is pretty beneficial for the deck. We play 2 copies of Psychic Wielder. Psychic Wielder is really good in the deck because if you control a level 3 monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And also, keep in mind about this card, it is a tuner. So we play a Synchro monster in the extra deck that you guys are going to want to stay tuned to see. We then play 2 copies of Tour Guide. I know this is a little bit weird, but I took the Dark Warrior engine out, like Malicious and stuff like that, for Tour Guide because I wanted to be able to go into my copies of Breaksword until the new copies of the Phantom Knight monsters come out. When the new Phantom Knight monsters come out, I'll probably drop the tour guide engine, but for now I really like it because it helps me with Sangan to search what I need. And I play a single copy of Sangan because Sangan is what I always special summon out with tour guide. And you can special summon the Sangan to your side of the field off the tour guide, and then tour guide, or when Sangan goes to the graveyard, you can add a monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, which can be your Silent Swordsman, or it can be your copies of the Ancient Cloaks, or boots, or gloves, or a copy of Wheelater, or whatever you need. It really helps out a lot in this deck to play the copy of Sangan. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom as well. The Ash Blossoms come in pretty handy because you can use them as to stop your opponent from doing any shenanigans when they're using cards to add from deck to hand, which is really cool. I like that ability a lot, and she's probably my favorite Ghost Girl. You could use Effect Veiler if you feel like you're running into the Numeron engine a little bit too much, or you can change this out for Forbidden Droplets. It depends on what you feel like you need. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is really helpful in this deck because you're doing a lot of searching in the deck, which is really important to be able to use Called by the Grave to stop your opponent. 1 copy of Reinforcements of the Army. Rhoda helps out because you can get your copy of Silent Swordsman to your hand, or any of your Phantom Knights to your hand as well. Foolish Burial because you can use this to send any of your Phantom Knights to the graveyard that you might particularly need to get to your plays. We play 2 copies of the Rank Up Magic of Phantom Knights, which is really good. Phantom Knights Launch. This card's really good because we have some really interesting monsters in the extra deck, like Ophion that you can go into in this deck, or Dark Requiem that you can go into this extra deck. But Ophion's really insane because you have Ophion and your Silent Swordsman on your side of the field. They're not special summoning anything that's level 5 or higher, and your copy of your Silent Swordsman's negating all of their, or at least 1 spell a turn, which is pretty good. The only thing that you kind of have to watch out for is when they activate I don't know how to say it. Like if they destroy your Silent Swordsman, then you can have to special summon out your level 7. It kind of stops you from doing that with Ophion, but that's the only drawback to how it works. We then play 3 copies of the Chaos Space, which is my surprise tech card of the deck, because Chaos Space is really good in this deck because you can discard any Phantom Knight monster, like your boots, gloves, or Ancient Cloak, any of the ones that you need, to be able to search your copy of your Silent Swordsman, because it searches anything that cannot be normal summoned or set that's between level 4 and 8. And this is a 4, and you can instantly search the Silent Swordsman directly from your deck to be able to special summon to your side of the field, which is really cool. I like that ability to be able to search my Silent Swordsman. So you're essentially playing like 6 targets to search the Silent Swordsman with the Sangan, the Reinforcements of the Army, the 3 Chaos Spaces, and the 3 Silent Swordsmen. You essentially have an 8 chance, 8 ways to actually open up Silent Swordsman, which is pretty good. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're playing a single copy of the Shade Brigadine. Shade Brigadine, it just special summons itself to your side of the field as a level 4 monster. It's essentially an extra monster, and it's pretty cool to be able to do that. If you have no traps in your graveyard, then you can special summon this card the turn it was set, which is really good. 2 copies of Mist Claws. Mist Claws is kind of neat because it lets you target the Phantom Knights monster, and add it to your hand. And then when your opponent declares a direct attack while you have this card in your graveyard, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Phantom Knight monster in your graveyard and special summon that monster. And if you do, you special summon this card as a normal monster with the same original level as that monster as well, which is pretty good to be able to go into XYZ plays. We play a single copy of the Phantom Knights or Phantom Knights Sword. Phantom Knight Sword and Fogblade are not searchable actually by your copy of Ancient Cloak, which is a little bit unfortunate, but hey, whatever. But Sword's effect is you can activate this card to target 1 face-up card on the field, and it gains 800 attack, and also that if that monster would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can destroy this card instead. And when this card leaves the field, destroy this card, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 the Phantom Knights monster in your graveyard and special summon it by banishing when it leaves the field. And then we play 3 copies of Fogblade, aka Fiendish Chain. This card is really good because it negates a monster effect that you can target with this card, which is really good, but you can't attack the monster that is equipped with this card, and that monster cannot attack either, which is great. I mean, it's okay. okay to be able to not attack it, and it can't attack either, but hey, whatever. And you can manage this card from your graveyard, and then target one of the Phantom Knights monsters in your graveyard and special summon it back, which is really good. I like that ability because you essentially have a bunch of Monster Reborns in this deck. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So, for the extra deck, we're going to be running 2 copies of Breaksword. Breaksword lets you pop a card on your side of the field and pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, which is pretty good by detaching a material. And then it also has the ability that you can target 2 Phantom Knights in your graveyard. If this card is destroyed, special summon them and increase their level by 1, which can help you go into Dark Rebellion, which in turn can help you attack your opponent with Requiem by going into Requiem after that, which is pretty good. We then play a single copy of Levenair the Sea Dragon because you're banishing a lot in this deck. You're able to revive them back with Levenair the Sea Dragon, which is pretty good. Dante because you can mill a lot of cards off your deck, and a lot of the cards that you have in the deck are fine to mill anyways to be able to trigger effects. Evilsworn Ophion because you can rank up into this with your rank up magic launch, which is really cool. If you have your copy of Breaksword on your side of the field and you're not planning on going for Requiem, you can pop like a copy of Fogblade on your side of the field, pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, and then go into Ophion during your turn, which is pretty good as well. We play a single copy of Dark Rebellion because Dark Rebellion helps us go into Dark Requiem. Basically what Dark Requiem does is if you have a Dark Rebellion as a material, then you can detach a material from this card and then target a face-up monster your opponent controls and change its attack to 0. And then during either player's turn when the opponent activates its effect, you can detach a material from this card and negate the activation if you destroy that card. Then you can special summon an XYZ monster from your graveyard, which is probably going to be Dark Rebellion that you're going to be special summoning off this effect. I play a single copy of Trishula because everything's level 3 in this deck, and it's easy to synchro summon in Trishula. You can normal summon out your copy of Cloak, special summon Wheelater, special summon out your Boots, synchro summon into Trish, and then hit your opponent for 3, and then search what you need off of the Boots and the Cloak, which is pretty good. A single copy of Brionac. If you can't go for Trish, you can go for Brionac because it's a level 6 synchro monster, and it's really easy to discard a bunch of cards that you might not need in your hand to go for Brionac. I play a single copy of Access Code Talker just to be able to pop cards on my opponent's side of the field. You can play Borreload if it's too expensive for you. Boral Sword just to help me OTK a little bit. Unicorn to be able to spin monsters. Phoenix to be able to pop spells and traps. Cerberus to be able to pop monsters. And a single copy of Cherubini. Cherubini is really good too because it can send your level 3 monsters from your deck to the graveyard. And you can use it to link climb higher into your copy of Access Code Talker or Boral Sword, which is really kind of nice. So that's it for the deck, guys. I really hope you did enjoy it. I hope I did Silent Swordsman justice for its tone. This was his profile request for the month, and I am super excited to bring test hands for this deck very soon. And this might be the last time I actually update Phantom Knights until we get the new support from Phantom Rage. I don't know. It is until November. I might update them again before then. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell notification, come part notification squad. Definitely give its tone some love down in the comments down below because this is their request for the month. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.